Is it join audio? No.
I guess the video's been disabled by the host. I don't know if you need it or not.
Depends what you want to share. I don't know what you want to share.
Hello, this is Heather. I have YouTube started, so for those folks tuning into YouTube, they should be able to see us in here. I'm just in here setting up Zoom currently on a laptop, so shortly they'll have us logged in as well.
Everyone's logged in.
So we just sit and wait.
So another minute or two. Can we go ahead and see who's on the call now as far as Planning Commission members?
Yeah, Heather, I'm here. This is Jim.
Okay.
Linda Barnhart.
Derek Smith.
Eric Buck.
It says here you cannot start video because the host is stopped it.
Okay.
Makena Norton. I just got a text from Steve Bionovich says he cannot join the meeting for some reason.
Yes, I mean, if you click on participants, you can see everybody that's logged on. This
Okay.
is Nick. I'm here.
Hi, Nick.
Hello.
Okay, I'm on participants.
So there's panelists and then there's attendees.
I see Nick Deal. I see Berkeley County Host. I see Dan Gant. Whitaker, Makena Norton, Eric Goff.
Right.
But I don't see any pictures.
So there's a tab at the top of the screen where we are currently in the list of panelists, and then the other tab that says attendees is where all of the developers and project representatives should be logging in.
And so I just sit and wait.
Got 13 of them logged on now.
I see Sianovich listed. So
I see 13 also, but I don't see anybody. Just names.
yeah, we don't have video either, but we do have the dial-ins.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tim Lewis is listed under attendees on there.
Okay. Okay, Justin's working on switching that so he can,
All right,
he's
good deal.
a vote, yeah, he can vote. Okay. So
Steve
switch.
Bionovich says he doesn't say his name up here. I can hear, but I can't. But you can't hear me.
I can
What
hear.
he says.
And then,
I see Steve on the list.
On the webpage.
okay, we're double checking YouTube.
See it all on YouTube.
So you can see it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think we have everybody from all the different avenues that are able to call in and view and dial in. So I was just going to go through a brief summary of how everybody's communicating tonight and then turn it over to Makena to facilitate it. So just here in the room, I have Justin Hunt from IT, and he's working with the Zoom laptop. Andy Blake is here for legal counsel, and I'm here, Heather Williams, as planning director to read the staff reports and any public comment that we've already received for this evening. Sarah, Laura, and Monique are watching via YouTube, and they'll be texting me if they have comments throughout the meeting. Sarah's also taking minutes. I was wondering if we'd get an echo. On the Zoom platform, we have the Planning Commission members as panelists, and then the representatives for the projects are listed as attendees, and anybody calling in to give public comment will also be listed as an attendee. And then I think we have we have the desktop phone as close to the speaker as we can put it, so everybody's voice should be transferring through the speakers to YouTube on the platform. So we'll see how all that goes, and if it's not coming across clearly, I'll get some text messages to let me know. I think that covers everybody here. So Vikina, if you want to go ahead and start the meeting.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you for everybody that's participating. Guess we'll do a roll call.
Okay. Jim Whitaker,
Here.
Linda Barnhart,
That
Eric Goff,
Here.
Vikina Norton,
here.
Tim Lewis,
Here.
Dan Gant, Nick Deal,
Here.
Derek Smith.
Here.
Oh, thank you. Then we have approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And was that Eric Goff and Jim Whitaker?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I seconded. Jim Whitaker second.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we mentioned, that maybe identify yourself when you are making motions,
Sure will. Thank you. Okay.
and second, yeah.
I see Dan
Thank
Gant
you.
has his hand raised. Looks like I didn't hear him say present during the roll call, but it looks like he's here in the chat.
Great, thank you.
Okay. I don't guess we'll necessarily have sunshine law speakers.
No sunshine law speakers this evening.
Okay, thank you. We have approval of meeting minutes. We tabled them from last meeting during March 2nd because we didn't have enough people present at the last meeting that was present at the meeting on the 2nd. So let's untable that.
Moved on table by Jim Whitaker.
Second by Tim Lewis.
Okay, everybody in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any comments or anything of the meeting minutes from March 2nd meeting?
If there are no changes or comments, I move to approve.
Second by Tim Lewis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, and then we'll go on to the meeting minutes, approval of meeting minutes from March 16th, please.
Move to approve. Eric Goff.
Second by Jim Whitaker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain Tim Lewis due to absence.
Yeah, and I'm going to abstain because I was late. This is Nick.
Other abstentions? I have a text here from Steve Sionovich asking IT for a participant ID.
He was on here just a minute ago.
Sent it back.
He's a Riverton. We see Sianovich logged in. It says Naraya.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm not sure I see it now. Yeah, I saw him earlier, but I don't see him now.
Okay.
Do we want to wait on that?
Oh,
Okay, I'm seeing it now. I can hear you, and you can't hear me. I'm trying to call in now.
okay. And we need to give him authorization to talk since he's dialing in as a participant. So when we get to that project, he'll be able to start speaking when we get to Spring Mills.
He seems to be coming and going from the attendees.
Oh, okay.
Not quite sure why.
Okay. Well, we can go to the first two, 6A and 6B, and then his project is 6C, and if we don't have him on by then, we'll make sure we get him on.
Okay, well, let's go ahead then, and we'll do the first public hearing, which is the Grapevine Royal Farms.
Okay, and I have the staff report for that. It's an amended staff report to the packet you received. It's a request for sketch plan advancement. Project is Grapevine Royal Farms, file number 001-20, developers Sumner Partners LLC, engineers Bagby, Faroe, and Good Pasture. That's located in the Arden District, tax map 6, parcel 9. Property is in the northeast quadrant of the intersection of Charlestown Road and Grapevine Road, and it proposes a 5,141 square foot convenience store with fuel dispensers on approximately 2.5 acres to be served by public water and sewer. Initially, there was a sidewalk exception request included in the packet for this project. After further evaluation of the application and the ordinance, it turns out that no exception was needed, so that was removed from the packet. And with that, no other waivers or exceptions are necessary. The county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter of completion on February 25th, 2020, stating that the sketch plan meets the requirements to advance to preliminary plan stage. Since the sketch plan meets the requirements, staff recommends advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Do we have representation?
We do.
Present.
We have Mike Bagby, I believe Ken Barton. So we're switching them so they're able to speak. So Ken Barton
Okay.
and
And what about
Steve Klebanoff.
anybody for the public hearing? Okay. Do we have anybody from the public?
I have one request that was sent in to me earlier today. It was a question from Matthew Umstead with the Herald Mail, and he would like to know what the projected timeline is for the project. I didn't receive any other public comments unless we have some on the phone.
Heather, this is Ken Barton. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Good evening, McKenna, and good evening, commission members. With me is Steve Klebanoff and Mike Bagby. I would inquire that Steve could give you a little more of the timeline.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Our
Yes.
hope is to file the preliminary plan in the next couple of weeks, and to obtain our permits sometime this summer, at which time Royal Farms would start construction. They have it on their schedule to start this summer, and it would take them approximately 6 or 7 months to complete the building. So this is a near-term project that is in their capital budget and scheduled.
Okay. And then if there's any other people that are interested in speaking for public comment, if there's a way for you to select the raise your hand button or dial *9, that will signal that we need to allow you to speak during the public hearing. We're not seeing any additional public comments through Zoom.
Mr. Jim Whitaker, I'll move to close public hearing.
Second by Derek.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing's closed. Do we have any questions further for Steve, or Mike, or Ken? If there are none, do we have a motion?
This is Jim Whitaker. I'll move to accept.
Go ahead, Tim. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll make a motion that we accept staff recommendations for advancement of the sketch plan to the preliminary plan stage.
I'll second that. Jim Whitaker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you very
Vicana.
much.
Good. Thanks,
Thank
Commission. Good evening.
Thank you all
Thanks,
very much.
Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, our next public hearing, overlook at Riverside Apartments.
Okay. Overlook at Riverside Apartments is a request for major plan change approval. It's file number 70-05. The developer is Rotz Family Limited Partnership. The engineer is Frederick Seibert and Associates. It's located in Falling Waters, map 7, parcel 160.3. It's on the east side of Williamsport Pike and south of Interstate 81. Project proposes 156 apartment units to be served by public water and sewer. The site area is approximately 9.73 acres. On April 2nd, 2018, the Planning Commission granted the developer the following deviations for a planned unit development. Direct access to Boulevard will not be permitted. Sidewalk to be placed on north side of Boulevard. Plant fast-growing trees as a buffer between Brookfield and Overlook at Riverside. And on September 16th, 2019, the Planning Commission granted the developer a waiver to Article 8, Section 801, Table 8-1A, reducing the required parking for multifamily dwellings with a minimum of 1.86 spaces per unit being provided. The county engineer, Dirk Stansberry, issued a letter of completion on December 10th, 2019. Stated the major plan change meets the requirements. Since this major plan change meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, staff recommends approval of the major plan change.
Thank you. Okay, before we ask for public comment there, with the public hearing, representation present for the project.
Yes, we have Ed Schreiber, and we're opening. Ed, are you there? Ed?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm here, and thanks for hosting this meeting this evening.
And then we have, I received some public comment that I will read, and I believe this person is also dialed in, so we have a hand raised. I'll read through these comments, and then we'll open that person up to speak as well. This comes from,
Okay.
sorry, are you ready for public hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we
This is from Samantha Gooding, and she said she has a few questions that they have based on what they know and think a few others may come up as information is presented. The first question, in one of the last major plan change meetings that changed the townhouses to single-family homes, it was directed that this area would have quick-growing, dense trees put in to separate the two developments, Overlook and Brookfield. Will this same type of tree be required for the entire length of the development? Number 2, there's been a lot of blasting behind Brookfield from Overlook. Will there be any more blasting now or in the future? And the third one, will plats or drawings be viewable before or during the meeting for those remote? How will these documents be shown? So they're available. I can answer number 3. The documents are available on the county website in our packet, and I can walk her through that if she's having trouble viewing those. We're going to go ahead and unmute. There's one person that's called in, 301 area code phone number. And we should be able to hear you now if you'd like to speak.
Heather, this.
Hi, would you make public comment?
I think if that was Samantha making public comment, if you could mute whatever it is that you're watching, we were getting feedback. I could hear you, but we were getting feedback. So if you could mute the sound on your video, and then we will pull you back in. Okay, Samantha, are you there? Do we have anyone else for public comment for Overlook?
Did we have Samantha?
We have one number, we don't have a name associated with it. And when we unmuted it the first time, there was a lot of feedback. And now it's... Okay, and they're not muted currently, so we should be able to hear.
Okay. Saw that Samantha had replied that those were the questions that she had at this time.
Okay, very good.
Did we have anybody else that is from the public tuning in to speak?
I don't believe so, and I think the phone number actually might be Steve, so when we finish up with Overlook, we'll pull him in.
Okay. Okay, so that improvement. Okay, that's Steve. Okay, so as far as the questions that Samantha had, is that anything you can please speak to, Ed?
Yeah, I can. As far as the trees that were along the property line, the common property line with Brookfield, if you recall that subdivision, or subdivision further south, which is currently under construction, those trees have not been planted as of yet, although we are far from actually being along that common property line. Now, moving north, which would be the common line between Brookfield and the proposed apartments, the property line to the apartments from the common line with Brookfield, approximately 150 feet from the that common property line. To the building itself, probably another 50 feet, which would make it almost 200. The apartment building would be about further west of the common property line. Plus, there is approximately 12 feet of relief topographically from the top of the hill down to where these apartment buildings actually are. So the apartments do not back up directly to the common property line with Brookfield. those houses that back up. There's about 200 feet of separation between the two. And as for the blasting, yes, there has been blasting. The majority of the site has been rough graded, so there probably will not be a whole lot more blasting that has to take place at this point. And I believe Heather was going to take care of item number 3, which was the viewing of the plans and plats.
Yeah.
That's correct.
We certainly appreciate. Would there be additional homes built? Do you see her additional question?
I had not seen the question, but
Heather, could you see that?
I do not see it. There's another typed question.
okay, I do see it. Would there be additional homes built along the property line next to the one proposed, or would we assume that this area would be green space? Well, it's not proposed. I can answer that right now. It's not proposed for development at this point in time, and there would be additional development and review procedures in place if in fact that area does get developed. I can't say that it won't be developed at any certain time, but as of for this particular subdivision, it is not proposed.
So it's not part of this major plan change that we're doing tonight. We do appreciate your questions and comments, Samantha. At this time, do we have any other questions or comments for the public portion?
I'm not seeing any.
Move public hearing be closed. Eric Goff.
We do have one last question.
Sorry.
One moment, there is one last question.
How many stories will these apartments be?
I believe they're going to be 3-story apartments.
Okay. Okay, she said thank you.
Okay, I'll move to close public hearing again.
Second, Derek Smith.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. So do we have any further questions for Mr. Schreiber on the project itself? Okay, if we have none, do we have a motion?
Linda Barnhart here. If there are no further questions, I make a motion to accept the staff recommendation and to approve the major plan change as submitted at the meeting 4/6/20.
Tim Lewis, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Okay, so we know that we have Mr. Stianovich.
Okay, so we have a Naraya Sianovich, and that has been unmuted.
Hello, Heather, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Okay, thanks. And that's Nora Sianovich, by the way, my daughter's computer.
I'm not wearing my glasses, so.
That's all right. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, glad we got you on. This will be our Spring Mills PUD public hearing, Heather?
Yes. So we have a request for sketch plan advancement. Project is Spring Mills PUD Lot 28, file number 4-20. The developer is Rental Properties Incorporated. The engineer is Fox and Associates. It's located in the Falling Waters District, tax map 14, parcel 1.13. It's located on the east side of TJ Jackson Drive, approximately 600 feet south of Hammond's Mill Road. It's proposing approximately a 12,000 square foot commercial building consisting of a bank, a dental office, realtor office, insurance office, and a restaurant on 1.96 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The developer is requesting an exception to section 705 to not install sidewalks. The site is located in the growth area as shown in the Berkeley County Growth Management Map from the Comprehensive Plan 2016. Although the developer is requesting an exception to section 705 to not install sidewalks, Article 9, section 9.04.f.1 states that pedestrian connectors shall be installed for connections between residential and non-residential portions of the PUD. The method of connection shall be negotiated with the Planning Commission at the sketch plan stage in order to safeguard the privacy of residential units and provide pedestrian connections for the convenience and safety of residents. County Engineer Dirk Stansberry issued a letter of completion on February 25th and stated that the sketch plan meets the requirements to advance. Staff recommends denial of the sidewalk exception since this site is part of the planned unit development. Sketch plan otherwise meets the requirements of the ordinance, and staff recommends advancement of the sketch to the preliminary plan stage.
Okay, thank you. Public hearing portion of this, do we have anybody from the public that wishes to speak on the Spring Mills PUD?
I have one request from Matthew Umstead with the Herald Mail. He has a question regarding the projected timeline for the project. And we're not seeing any other individuals appearing on the attendee list.
Okay, Steve?
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Matthews?
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have a timeline on the project other than Rental Properties, which you're well aware is Ellen Henry. The project will want to move forward as quickly as possible. I'm afraid that's the best answer I can give. I cannot give anticipated tenant move-in dates or anything like that. Again, my apologies, and Ellen, to my knowledge, is not on the call or on Zoom.
Well, I guess it's an answer in some fashion.
I would assume that the construction would go forward as soon as we have, preliminary plan approval and all the necessary permits that are part of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a comment. I do have a comment on the staff recommendation. May I speak for a moment?
Do you want to
do we want to finish up with the public hearing portion?
This meeting is being recorded.
I'm not seeing any other public comments for this project.
McKenna, this is Tim Lewis. I'm going to excuse myself from the rest of the conversation on this project.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do we want to close the public hearing?
Move to close public hearing. Eric Goff.
Second by Jim Whitaker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Steve.
Thank you. After discussions with the project developer today, we would like to withdraw the sidewalk exception request, as the developer would like to install a 5-foot wide sidewalk along the entire frontage of Lot 28 that abuts T.J. Jackson Drive.
Heather, is this where it would have been required?
Yes, they had asked for it, but if he's withdrawing that request, now there doesn't need to be a decision on that exception. It's voluntarily withdrawn.
We can just go ahead and set staff recommendation as presented.
Correct.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions then, as far as the sketch plat itself goes for Steve?
If there are no
Okay,
other
if not, then
questions.
let's have a motion on the sketch plat.
Hi, this is Jim Whitaker. If there's no other questions, I move to accept staff recommendation and grant the sketch plan and meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, and staff recommends advancing to the sketch plat, the preliminary plan stage.
Second, by Derek Smith.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we do have an abstention.
He recused himself.
Yes, Tim Lewis recused himself.
Okay.
Call for the
So
question.
we ready to go on for our next public hearing with Whispering Pines?
Did you vote after the motions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we did. We just
Okay.
needed Tim's
To clarify that,
recusal.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So moving on to Whispering Pines. This is a request for major plan change approval. Actually, see. It's Whispering Pines Townhomes, files 71-02. Developers Dan Ryan Builders, the engineers Fox and Associates. It's located in Mill Creek District, map 10, parcels 50, 50.4, 50.5, and 50.6. It's located on the east side of Cheshire Road and south of Middleway Pike at the end of Whispering Pine Drive and Scotch Pine Drive. This project proposes 171 townhomes on 28 acres to be served by public water and sewer. This major plan change proposes the reconfiguration of lots and parking areas. On February 5th, 2007, the Planning Commission denied the request for modification of Section 902.11 of the Berkeley County subdivision regulations to allow 5 feet of the required 20 feet between the rear yards of townhomes on individual townhome lots. At the April 15th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted to approve a waiver to Article 8, Section 801, Table 8-1A8 of the Berkeley County subdivision ordinance, requiring a minimum of 1 parking space per attached dwelling unit to be off-site. County Engineer Dirk Stansberry issued a letter of completion on October 10th, 2019, and stated that the major plan change meets the requirements for approval. Since the plan change meets the requirements, staff recommends approval of the major plan change.
Thank you. All right, so we have, Steve, you're representing this project as well.
That's correct. Steve Sionovich representing Whispering Pines.
Any public comments or anyone from the public to speak on this during the public hearing time?
We do not.
Move public hearing be closed. Eric Goff.
Second, Dirk Smith.
All in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Stoyanovich?
I do have a comment, though, if there are no questions.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Under
Steve.
under the project description, the yield is 179 lots. 171 is listed in the record.
Okay, we can make that correction.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, this is Jim Whitaker. I move to accept staff recommendation and grant the major plan change for the approval of the plan change.
I have a question.
Barnhart.
Was there a question?
No, I said second by Linda Barnhart.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All in favor? Okay. And that concludes our public hearing.
That was actually the motion. We had already closed the public hearing.
No, I just said that project was done.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, my thing cut out and then it came back.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yes, that was
So
our
we're
last
ready
public
to go
hearing.
on to number 7, preliminary plan approval?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay, yep.
So this
Good.
next project is a request for preliminary plan approval for Critters Diesel Automotive. The file's 9-19, developers Chris Shirley, engineers Fox and Associates. It's located in the Hedgesville District, map 26, parcel 5.2, along the west side of Back Creek Valley Road, approximately a quarter mile south of Heavenly Drive and a quarter mile north of Cavern Road. The project proposes a commercial lot on approximately 24.76 acres to be served by private well and septic. The developer is requesting an exception to section 705 to not install sidewalks, as there are no sidewalks currently in the vicinity. This parcel is in a remote area, similar to recent cell tower submissions, where sidewalk exception was granted. Article 7, section 705.1 states, except where exempted by planning commission, at least one sidewalk shall be required on one side of the arterial and collector streets to be built at the time of street construction. So that specific requirement is what they're asking for an exception to. Formal request was not originally sent in during the sketch plan, but it is acceptable to request it here in the preliminary phase. On April 15th, 2019, a waiver to Article 8, Section 801.1.1 concerning requirements of paved off-street parking was granted. County Engineer Dirk Stansberry issued a letter of completion on March 25th, 2020, and stated that the preliminary plan meets the requirements to advance to final plat stage. Staff recommends approval of the sidewalk exception, and if granted, the preliminary plan will meet the requirements of the ordinance, and staff recommends advancement with that approval of the preliminary plan to the final plat stage.
Okay, thank you. Steve, are you also the representative here?
Yes, I am representing the project, Steve Sianovich.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Steve on this project? Okay.
Okay, if there are no questions, this is Tim Lewis. I make a motion, we accept staff recommendations for approval of the sidewalk exception and advancing the preliminary plan to the final plat stage.
This is Daniel Gann. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
This is Steve Sianovich. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Steve. Middle Creek Manor?
Okay, Middle Creek Manor is a preliminary plan for Phase 3, Section C, file number 27-15. The developer's Middle Creek View Estates, LLC, the engineer's Gordon. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 7, parcel 2.1. The site is located east of Shiley Road, approximately 0.4 miles north of Hatchery Road and the Shiley Road intersection. Also at the end of the existing Basin Drive. This project intends to create 47 single-family homes on approximately 31.1 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The developer was granted a waiver to Appendix A of the 2009 subdivision ordinance to modify the street design requirements to permit the street to be constructed to the same standards utilized during the construction of the 3 phases of the project at the December 21st, 2015 Planning Commission meeting. On March 25th, 2020, the county engineer issued a letter of approval stating a review of the above-mentioned project had been completed and was found to be in compliance with the ordinance. Since the preliminary plan meets the requirements of the ordinance, staff recommends advancement to the final plat stage. And we have Ryan Perks representing this project.
Yes, good evening. This is Ryan Perks from Gordon, representing the developer for Middle Creek.
Hi, Ryan. Does anybody have questions for Ryan? If no questions, do we have a motion?
This is Tim Lewis. I make a motion that we accept staff recommendations and advance to the final plat stage.
This is Daniel Gann. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everhart?
Okay, this is a request for preliminary final plat approval. The project is Everhart Division. The file number is 5-20, also tied to a minor project, 90-19M. The developer is Brian Everhart. Surveyor is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in the Opequon District, map 8, parcel 22, on Greensburg Road, approximately 1 mile south of its intersection with Scrabble Road. The project proposes the creation of one lot consisting of approximately 3.8 acres and one residue lot consisting of 153 acres to be served by private well and septic. The county engineer, Jim Golden, issued a letter of approval on March 16th. It says 2019, that's 2020, stating a review of this project has been completed and it was found to be in compliance. The project is found to be complete and compliant Therefore, staff recommends approval of the preliminary final plat. And we have Mike Roberts representing this project.
Good evening. Mike Roberts here, represents the project.
Good evening. Does anybody have questions for Mike Roberts?
If there are no questions, I'll make the motion. We advance the preliminary final plat, approve it.
Second by Jim Whitaker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next project is a request for final plat determination. Project is Heritage Hills Phase 1, Section 5, lots R239 through R249. It's file number 44-05. The developer is Oakwood HH LLC, and the engineer is Roberts Land Surveying. It's located in Arden District, map 10, parcel 129, at the intersection of Vanette Drive and Heritage Hill Drive, 1,000 feet north of Paynes Ford Road. This final plat proposes the development of 11 single-family detached lots, approximately 3.6 acres, to be served by public water and sewer. No waivers or exceptions have been requested for this section and phase. On March 11th, 2020, the Assistant County Engineer, Steve Abereg, issued a letter of completion and found the project to be in compliance with the Berkeley County Subdivision Ordinance. The final plat meets the requirements of the ordinance, and staff recommends final plat determination and advertising of a public hearing for consideration of final plat approval at the May 4th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. And we have Mike Roberts on the phone for this project as well.
Thank you, Heather.
Good evening. Mike Roberts to represent the project.
Any questions for Mike Roberts on Heritage Hills?
This is Jim Whitaker. If there's no questions, I move that we accept the staff recommendation for final plat determination and advertising for public hearing consideration of final plat approval for May 4th, 2020.
This is Daniel Gann. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Planning Commission and the planning staff for putting all this together this evening.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, that looks like it's all the projects that we have. We've got some sidewalk requirements we're going to talk about.
Yes, this is just for discussion for this evening, and then for you to look it over, and we will keep it on the next couple of agendas. Laura put together this one sheet to help summarize where in our existing 2009 ordinance it makes reference to sidewalks and what the restrictions and requirements are. So if you can just take a look at that, each of these explains how and why they're needed. And I think it also brings to light where there's some confusion as far as when exceptions are needed and when they're not, and why there's a tendency to not have sidewalks on projects. And this will give us something to start with when we look at our new ordinance and try to define how and where we want them and how we want to have it written in the ordinance. So this was put together for you. Also, when we do the staff recommendations for approval or denial, this is what we're comparing it to as well, to make sure that we know which sidewalk specifically they're asking for an exception to. So that's all I had. Just wanted to share that with you, and then we will continue to talk about it on future agendas.
Okay. All right, thank you. So everybody has that to look at, and it'll be an ongoing thing.
Correct. And it can also be used as a reference point whenever we're making recommendations. If you want to know why we're doing that and where it's coming from, it's a good starting point.
Okay. Okay. Do we have anything else?
If not, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, Derek Smith.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Everybody be safe. Keep your social distance.
See you.
You too. See ya.
Take
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for getting that organized like that. But there's a few hiccups, but I think it went well.
Yes, it did.
It took me
I agree.
a while to get my mic working, but yeah, it worked out okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was new to it too. So.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
I want Linda Barnhart
See
here.
you.
I want to thank Vakana for chairing the meeting for me until I can get back to full recovery from my little ailment. Thank you.
Linda, you be safe. Tell Jim to take care of you.
Sure.
Yeah, take care, Linda.
Thanks.
Well, I hope it was okay, but we look forward to you being back to chair, Linda, for sure.
Night.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good
Good night.
Bye-bye. See you.